Hi, I'm Renee White, and I would like to talk to you a little bit about literacy stations. Literacy stations, how do you actually organize them? We as educators all love them, and students find them fun and they are beneficial. And there's always really cool things that you can do with literacy station. But the organization piece was an issue to me during COVID when we started the year virtually, and even when I had cohorts coming in and out. And it's now something that I use in my classroom, even without COVID restrictions. Um, Literacy stations are great because they can always incorporate lots of different materials for students, especially when it comes to doing things like word work and they're working on spelling words. And I love the manipulatives. However, during COVID, again, I had no way to get those to my students. And when they came back, they weren't allowed to share them because of germs. And even when they are, that's a lot of the time how germs get passed, things get lost, you have to replace them. And I know as educators, a lot of the time that comes right out of our own pockets. So that was a challenge. And I also work at a year-round school, which means I have to move in and out of my room every 6 to 10 weeks. So moving all of that stuff is also a challenge. I also wanted to give my students more control because when I did literacy stations in the past, I found it hard to let them actually have a free choice for every activity in the order that they did them. And I would end up making a rotating schedule of some type. They'd also pick the same ones over and over again, and I'd have to remind them, no, you're not, you've already done that. And so that was another challenge I wanted to try to overcome. But I also wanted to give my students choices because I wanted them to be able to have that ability to choose what they did first and which three they did on which day and what order they did them in. And I wanted them to have enough supplies. I also wanted them to have the accessibility piece of being able to do them even if it was COVID and they were learning virtually, or if they were just sick at home trying to do some work virtually, or if their family was on vacation and they wanted to try to continue to do some things virtually. So I wanted them to have a visual piece where they were actually looking at texts and reading, also a manipulative piece where they were building words using something, and then a listening piece where they were able to hear good quality reading and follow along with it and enjoy it. And then, of course, also a thinking, a little brain challenge where they were asked to use some of what they know and what they've learned to create some writing to share. The final thing I wanted to incorporate was to make sure that the literacy stations I made included balanced literacy aspects. So I definitely wanted to hit on the fact that there would be word work, there would be writing, and there would be reading, whether that was independent, read to self, or reading to someone, or listening to text. I wanted to incorporate all of that into a digital literacy station. So that's where the idea came for digital literacy stations in Seesaw. And I based it around the daily 5, which is reading to self, read to someone, listen to reading, word work, and work on writing. And when students enter into the menu, they choose whichever one they want on what day, check it off, go to the activity, and there's all sorts of interactive things that they're able to get to, different links and websites and things to use to do the activities. But they can also choose to use manipulatives like Play-Doh and magnets. If they want to build and spell their words that way and take a picture of it, they can. Or if they want to write on paper and take a picture of it, they can. And that way, all of their literacy station work is turned into me in one place instead of getting a bunch of different stuff sprinkled in a basket throughout the week.